Both been there before, haven't they? They both had bad days here at the Super Series.
Correct.
9 for double 16.
Game shot in the first leg. Very
15 dart
vampy.
hold.
His scoring
And you
darts on
require
19s and
72.
20s yesterday were low.
It was something that
Game shot in the
as he
fourth
finds
leg.
the double
Andy
that Daryl
Bolton.
Gurney did for a while, and he just couldn't get out of the habit. And
he did have a few shoulder issues at the end of his winning week.
it's horrible for him, isn't it? Well,
He's going to need a key to get through there.
the sledgehammer. Got to knock the wall down.
Somebody take the hinges off.
He'll be in Cosham in a minute.
Game
Oh,
shot in the
what a
fifth
dart
leg.
that
Very
is.
vampy.
Take a bow, Berry. That is a superb shot.
Yep.
One left. That
Game
could be
shot.
really
And
big
the
for
match,
Berry Van
very
Peer.
vampy.
But it is 2 points for him in the first game of Tuesday. His first 2 points of Champions Week. You just caught a glimpse there of him looking to the heavens as if to say it's about time that happened, but it was an improved display with more maximums, and he did have to survive a couple of match darts. When we come back, it will be Littler versus West, and that one could be explosive to start their round one.
Get a log M board and play a game of slip up. Maybe get a 5-10s board.
Double top.
Game shot in the fifth leg. Steve
Improvement
West.
keeps coming. That's a 15 darter for West. Get in the mix
Steve, you require
after
81.
round one. Double 12. He gets
Game,
sixes
shot, and a
and
match,
beats Littler
Steve
by
West.
4 legs to 3. So he joins Luke on 8 points. However, Jerome Miok is on 8 points with a game to spare. Well, that makes things really interesting. And as you can see, a difference of 5 in the averages didn't make any difference, but the doubling from West was exceptional, wasn't it? At 67%. Speaking of Jerome Miok, that game in hand is going to come next against Rhys Robinson.
She requires
Was
120.
and Lloydie all went out. My treat.
Oh! Speaking of a treat, he was going for 3 tops.
80. Jerome, you
Outrageous.
require 40.
Oh, that would have broken the internet if he'd hit that.
Oh, it's a time and a place. And this
Game
is
shot in the
neither.
third leg. Jerome Miok.
And ultimately, well, I'm not sure what to say.
Fourth leg.
Well, that was in his second game. Is he going to get a win in his first game today? I wonder.
What was Jerome's
180.
Average for the day yesterday.
90. No, so it was 88.14. So it was almost 9 points behind that of Littler,
140.
but he had the same amount of points.
But very close between these two.
Indeed. Come on, Rhys, you got to stop this.
180.
I don't even know how that went in
Jerome
that
require
portion of the
86.
60s.
That's his 5th. Maroney in leg 5.
And he's
Game shot in
down
the fifth leg.
3-2.
Jerome Miok.
One is just a little bit more difficult, but it is possible. How good could this be? That is
Game shot in the
wonderful
sixth
from
leg. Rhys
Robinson.
Robinson.
Amazing. Absolutely under the pump.
Jerome, you require 32.
One more job to do. Can he do it?
Game
Yes, he
shot,
can.
And a match. Jerome
Wow,
Miok.
what a third game of the day. And Robinson will be looking at the stats thinking, how did I lose that? Well, you didn't have the darts. That's one thing, Rhys, but 104 is not enough. And 131 checkout to take us to leg 7 did give us drama, but there you see 6 maximums for Rhys. They weren't enough either, and it's Jerome Miok who goes back to the top on his own on 10 points via his best performance of the week so far. When we come back, we'll have Berry versus Littler to start round 2.
Luke, you require 77.
You won against the darts yesterday by 4 legs to 2. This time, it's a win of
Game,
4
shot,
legs to
and a
0
match. Luke
with
Littler.
the darts. And with that result, he goes to 10 points and plus 11 in leg difference, which is exactly what Jerome Miok has got. So they are the two at the top. But as far as Barry Van Peer is concerned, he stays on 2 points at the base of the table. When we come back, it's Robinson and Bolton in a battle in Game 5. In darts speak,
Reece,
from the
you
old
require
school,
2.
Reece, you left it.
Game, shot,
And he
a
hits
match.
it.
Reece
Well,
Robinson.
I wouldn't advise doing that. I can understand it to leave maybe a double 4 or double 2 because the effect hitting a max does with a crowd can affect your opponent, but ultimately 10 points ahead in the averages. Another 4 180s for Robinson and a 4-1 win, and he moves on to 8 points alongside Steve West, who's up next against Jerome Mioch.
That'll be a detailed book one day.
I did sit next to a flight to America with him once.
Oh,
Game,
that's
shot on the
wonderful
third
from
leg,
Westy.
Steve West.
2-1 to him.
Steve, you require
At
4.
3 different doubles. 4th different double.
Game, shot.
Finally
and a
gets
match.
across the
Steve
line.
West.
It's not a great game, just like yesterday, but just like yesterday, West wins, this time with a gap of 3, and it does get him in amongst the leaders on 10 points, admittedly with not as good a leg difference as Luke Littler, who is playing next, and it will be the start of round 3. The middle portion of the day in Group A and Champions Week is coming right up.
You require 100.
This was his biggest finish of the day yesterday, and he might just do it again against Reece Robinson.
Game,
double 10
shot on the
gets
third
it.
leg, Luke Littler.
4th max. 14 for the day.
My word. What a
Game,
win
shot,
that is for
and a
Reece
match.
Robinson.
Reece Robinson.
He had promise years ago. He found his way through his qualifying week, but that has got to be one of the most impressive comeback wins of his time here at the Motor Super Series. That was extraordinary. Look at the doubling. 100%. And for the second time in 2 days, he finishes a 4-3 with a 140 checkout, and it was a different way this time as well, showing his game flexibility. We have 4 players on 10 points. Well, you wanted drama, you got it. Barry Van Peer and Steve West next. Hims
Barry
as
require
Littler,
94.
with Mioch against Bolton to come. Double top for Barry.
Game, shot on
That's
the
a
first
bit more
leg,
like it.
Barry
And I
Van
certainly
Peer.
wouldn't write off Bolts or Barry Van Peer.
When
Steve, you
Steve
require
West
40.
plays Andy Bolton, because neither of them have got a senior
Game,
title.
shot, and a
But
match.
what Steve West has right now is a key 4 legs to 1 win against Barry Van Peer. He repeats what he did yesterday by beating Barry, and that now takes him to the top of the table. Look at that display. Average over 100, 57% on the doubles, and it looks like there's plenty of petrol in the tank as well. Looking good for Westy. How will Jerome Mioch respond against Andy Bolton next? Stay with us to find out.
Require 70.
I'm having a trade-off with you, Nico.
I'll take that trade. Jerome will take that trade. Oh,
Game, shot on the
I'm not
second
sure
leg,
how it went
Jerome
in,
Mioch.
but it did.
It's to 5, and Justin Pipe was on a board next to me, and he just stopped playing. Talking of long points, Justin Pipe loved a long point.
Didn't he just? Oh, it's
Game,
another
shot on the
one.
fourth leg, Jerome
It's a break
Mioch.
fest here.
That one's in 12, Nico.
This is a good game of darts. Both averaging mid-90s, both doubling well.
Fifth leg, it's Jerome to
And
throw
again.
first.
For another hold of throw. Is that too close?
72.
Maybe it was.
Yep. We could hear it. couldn't
Jerome,
you?
you require 40.
Tops for the win in
Game,
13.
shot, and a match,
Tops he
Jerome
gets, and
Mioch.
Mioch goes back to the top of the table with that double tops. He is on 12 points plus 10, an average of 91.12, 89.30 for Andy Bolton. A very, very entertaining game of darts, and we could well get another one up next. Barry Van Peer against Reece Robinson.
Reece, you
Well,
require
unless Robinson can
156.
pull out one of his specials. If it was 140, it'd be nailed on.
It's not as if he's going to go another route because there's only one route for 156, and this is it. Oh,
Game, shot on the fifth leg, Reece
my
Robinson.
word. That changes everything. It's Robinson who has created this chance for himself. Is that flight in the way?
Game.
It
shot,
wasn't in the
and a
end.
match.
That's a great
Reece
dart
Robinson.
to get a 4-2 win. He goes to 12 points alongside Miok and West. And now the pressure is on Luke Littler, who plays in the next game. And if he doesn't win, all of a sudden there's going to be a 4-point gap at the top of the table. But that Reece Robinson display, winning with an 84 average, but look at that 156. That changed everything about that game. When we come back, it is Littler and Miok.
Luke, you require
Set it up
75.
beautifully, Nico.
How beautiful can this be? It's almost
Game
like he
shot on the
meant
third
to go
leg,
for the
Luke
54
Littler.
there for double two, but that he
Jerome,
did
you
that
require
actually.
43.
Especially with dart 1 blocking out tops.
Double 16 to be top on 14 points and 4 points ahead of Littler.
Game. Shot.
That's what he
and a
gets.
match.
And he's now
Jerome
2
Miok.
points ahead of West and Robinson as well. Admittedly, Steve West has got a game to spare and it does come next. But look at that impressive display from Miok. He doesn't have the best average. He does have the best checkered percentage again against Littler for the second day in succession, though. That was very entertaining. That spare game for West comes next against Andy Bolton.
And you require
Conversation with Luke
102.
Humphries about conserving those adrenaline levels.
Game shot on the second leg.
Energy
Andy
conservation,
Bolton.
that's what we called it.
Full
Stevie
light,
require
isn't it? Or
130.
chandelier, should I say?
Speaking of beautiful, this would be beautiful for Steve. Bullseye.
Game.
And this
shot,
time he
and a
gets the
match.
ball.
Steve
A
West.
superb blitz from simply Steve West gets him to 14 points in the table. That average was climbing all the time throughout that match. And arguably his best shot came with his last 3 darts with that 130 checkout, as you can see. But overall, that was a really good display from the man who is in second place in the table now, only on leg difference. When we come back, it's the final round of Tuesday.
Jerome, you
He's
require
guaranteed
74.
to be top going into Wednesday.
You are correct, Nico. That set average from
Game shot on the first
pricing,
leg.
just
Jerome
a
Miok.
small matter of 132.6.
Jerry
from around the world.
36.
Literally all around the world.
Another. Leaves double 8.
Game shot on the third
Perfect.
leg. Barry Vampire.
He's wondering, where's that been
Yeah.
today? Looking for
Jerome,
something
you
else to
require
happen,
8.
but it doesn't.
Game.
What does
shot,
happen
and a match.
is Jerome Miok will lead the table going into Wednesday. Looking for the wire-to-wire win in Champions Week in Group A. It's possible, and he is 2/3 of the way there. Maybe his doubling has just been better than anybody this week on a consistent basis. 67% there. Doesn't need the high fancy outs. Only 74 needed there. But that is a win in round 5, and his job for the day is done. As for Steve West and Reece Robinson, they're trying to chase him down, and they play each other next.
Reach you require 154.
He does get himself on a more manageable finish. If he gets a look. If I said...
Game shot on the
Not
fourth
at
leg.
all.
Reece
Another
Robinson.
big hit from Robinson.
Treble 10.
Treble 14. Well, that's 33
That's
left.
half.
You can't finish on the same treble. So now it's got to be something a little different. Or is it? It's been good to him. And it is
Game
again.
shot, and a match.
How key is
Steve
that going to
West.
be in this table? Sugar Reece Robinson has been dissolved at the end of that one. He had his chances to beat Steve West, but courtesy of that somewhat interesting win by 4 legs to 3, Steve West will go into the final day of Group A in Champions Week, level with Jerome Miok on 16 points. That was very unusual towards the end. But now there's only one match left, and it's a question of how far back will Luke Littler be from the top 2 spaces when we come back. If you look at his record in qualifying for Champions Week, it's rather impressive.
180.
and the only person I can think of who reminds me of Steve West is Josh Payne last year, who had this ridiculous record of qualifying for Saturday
99.
night every time he
Luke,
came
you
here.
require
Yeah,
82.
Matt Clark, another one.
Game shot on the
Just a
second leg. Luke
Casual
Littler.
little 11 dart hold. Second and third position. Take a spot in Group B. 3 from 5 go through in that one. Much better chance. Double 14. Gets it.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Andy Bolton.
Start has
Andy
come and gone.
requires 68.
Well, it's added a bit of pressure. Gets the treble 20 beautifully. Hand
Game
pins the
shot on the
double
fifth
4.
leg.
A
Andy
15
Bolton.
dart break is followed by a 14 dart hold.
Luke, you require 10. Game
Well,
shot
despite
and a match.
some
Luke
indifferent Christie's finishing from Luke Littler, dodging a bullet at the end, he does get the all-important 2 points and a rock-solid average, 99.72. 6 darts and a double in that one. High finish of 82 and 108 for Andy Bolton. But it is Jeroen Mioch who is on top on 16 points and plus 15 in leg difference. Let's have a reaction with the boys up on the balcony.
Chris, thank you very much, and a much-needed victory there at the end for Luke Littler.
Yeah, just a bit. You could sense a little bit of tension for Luke towards the end of that match because Andy was bearing down on him. But ultimately, for his chances, his slim chances of getting through this Group A tussle that we've got now, he needed those 2 points. Otherwise, it was going to be a 6-point cushion for the other two.
Well, let's see what we have seen today. That made perfect sense, didn't it? Right, so this is the results from Tuesday here at the Super Series. So 15 games been and gone. And let's decipher there. We're going to start a little bit differently because for all the results, the flair and the panache has come from Reece Robinson today. Nearly threatened the 180 record for the day. Big finishes as well, including a 156 against Barry Van Peer. And Barry, who just hasn't had it at all his own way during any point of the week.
Well, look at the scoreline. It's 2-2 and Barry's sitting on double 8. And his reaction to that finish told everything. He was shaken to his core. Just look at this at the end. He's thinking, why did you have to do that against me? But that's what happened to Barry in that moment. It's happened quite a lot this week. He's going to be playing in Group C by the looks of it with Andy Bolton, but Reece Robinson, with a lot of flair, has been very entertaining the last couple of days.
He most certainly has, but it is Jeroen Mioch and Steve West, the two proprietors of the top of the table here at the Super Series. Let's begin with Steve West, because he seems to be the king of the 4-3s this week. When he needs to draw out big moments, he needs to claw big moments, he manages to do that.
I'm going to go back to what he was saying to you on the balcony, because that interview for me was fascinating. He said that if you can't pull things like this out when you need to, you can't call yourself a dart player. Now, Steve is from what is perceived as the old school of darts, being in his late 40s. But he makes a good point, because if you can't do that in important moments, you won't get results. And so far this week, he's been pulling it out.
And you can tell he had the fire in the belly, saying that he feels he's still one of the best players without a tour card, and he feels that he should be in the conversation more. We mentioned the likes of Luke, mentioned the likes of Bear. He feels he should be in that mix.
He is in the conversation because he is making himself known for the conversation. Yes, he's not playing Challenge Tour, he's not on the Pro Tour, he's not playing all these different tours like the Luke Littlers are, development tour. He's way too old for that. So we have to judge him by different metrics and different tournaments. The Super Series is his home in 2023. And if we judge him on that alone, his record is absolutely outstanding. So he has to be in the conversation.
Well, he completed the card today. Jeroen Mioch has gone 8 from 10 once again. And again, beating Luke Littler. And I feel like we're saying the same thing every day. We feel like we're finding reasons to possibly go against Jeroen, but every single time we ask the question of him, he's coming up with the answers.
I think his consistency is getting him through challenges like this, and I think he's gaining experience at this format as well. He said he was feeling a little bit tired and flat this morning, but obviously the adrenaline of playing game in, game out is helping him through it. I think he'll sleep very, very well tonight, knowing that he's still at the top of the table on leg difference. But I think Chris Mason is perfect in his scenario with Jeroen. It's that he's growing into the player that he wants to be.
Was that game against Reece Robinson at the start of the day the perfect sum-up of Jeroen when you consider Reece fired in those 6 maximums, had that high ton-plus average, and Jeroen still managed to get over the line?
How many players do you know that would panic when Justin Bradshaw is saying 186 times in a game? I know I would think, well, how do I survive this? but the maturity and the poise of Jerome Mayock tells you something, because he was able to withstand those 6 maximums and still come out with the win.
Well, this is the table then after day 2. Moving day, as we like to call it here at the Super Series. And, well, there is some major moves in the fact that the top 2 just began to detach themselves a little bit from 3rd and 4th. And then there's a real chasm between 4th and the rest of the field. What are you expecting going into tomorrow?
Well, it's a 4-horse race, we know that. I know there's going to be plenty of people overnight thinking it's a 2-horse race, but it isn't. The first 2 rounds tomorrow will stipulate a lot, and that gap can be closed fairly quickly. But by the time we get to match 7, match 8, we will have a very good indication of how many horses are in this race. Plenty to play for, really exciting Wednesday coming.
And Andy Bolton and Bay Van Peer are 2 players that you don't want as spoilers. If you're at the top of the table, or if you're the rest of the field, you wouldn't mind having as spoilers.
Well, let's face facts. Nobody wants to play them later in the week because they will have a lot of sharpness in their arm. It's just a question of how they handle the disappointment of what has happened in this group so far. They'll be fine, but as far as spoilers in Champions Week, they're going to be better than any other week, aren't they?
Most certainly. I mean, we're none the wiser, are we?
No, we aren't, because West is in 2nd position, but he's just gone perfect on the card today. Girone is consistent, and we've got explosiveness in 3rd and 4th. Anything could happen.
Well, it is going to be some day tomorrow. 9:30, the coverage resumes on Sporty Stuff TV and on the Motor Super Series YouTube channel to see who the first player through to Champions Night on Saturday is going to be. And as I say, we are none the wiser. There's 2 players on 16 points. There's a 4-horse race. It's all to play for. Join us tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.